So Planet Earth 3, episode 4 is out, and this one's about freshwater. So basically, if it ain't got no salt and it's water, it's in this episode. So this episode opens up with some really impressive shots of an underwater cave, and they really were impressive. I mean, the camera work in this episode is amazing. This is easily the best filmed episode so far. The shots of the rivers just flowing over the landscape, and they said it looks like an alien world. It was amazing. The shot of the dam later on that we get, it's like black and white, so it contrasts very well with the previous shots of the natural world, which is shown to be very colourful. A lot of things like that in here were just amazing. So the first major bit of footage we get is red-eyed tree frogs. You don't actually see red-eyed tree frogs in series a lot. They're obviously very iconic, so seeing them like fighting each other to mate is very good. It is chaotic. I mean, if you've ever seen frogs or toads mating, it is like, it's pandemonium. I mean, I've seen toads mate with frogs, and so this was a really good way to open the episode. It was quite humorous. There was a few humorous sequences in here, but no, it was definitely a really good start to the episode. For me, the best part was the mugger crocodiles. You don't get them a lot. It's usually Nile or saltwater crocodiles you see, but I mean, mugger crocodiles were in Planet Earth being harassed by the short clawed otters, but in this episode you see them hunting deer. Now, at first I was like, okay, we've seen crocodiles hunt before. It's kind of what they do. But it was interesting showing it hiding in the vegetation and using that to cover itself. That was really impressive. And the shot, again, as I said about how well shot this was, the drone footage of that was great. The part where you see the deer drinking from the water and the crocodile's in there, you know it's in there, but it goes on for so long. It's a very prolonged sequence and there's no dialogue, whatever. So eventually when the crocodile does catch the deer, the tension's been built so much, and it's a really good sequence. Definitely the highlight of the episode for me. Very, very, very good stuff. From there we move on to the Okavango Delta, which is probably the most commonly used area for the freshwater episodes. I think it's in a lot of them. But we see the jacanas, the lily trotters as they're called here, and they're good. You see a parent try to lead a crocodile away from its chicks, and later when there's one chick that's been left behind and the male looks for it, you do think, oh, is this chick, is it dead? Is it gone missing? And it finds it, and it was just basically resting. It just didn't hear him. It kind of, to me, it kind of felt like they blew it a bit out of proportion for a bit of drama, but it was still good. It was still a good sequence. The best part of the Okavango sequence though was the African wild dogs. Now, African wild dogs were hunting impala in the first Planet Earth, so it was kind of like a return to that. They're hunting lechwe this time, which are specialised to live in freshwater environments. I thought it was really good. Again, the drone sequences there was great. I was like definitely invested in it. I don't think it was quite as good as the hunt in the first Planet Earth, which is a pretty iconic sequence. I think that's probably among the best African wild dog hunts we've seen, and we've seen a lot of them. Then we get the fish that acts like it's dead. It's got, even its colour mimics like rotten flesh, and it's just it trying to catch other fish, either just lying, playing dead, or hiding in the sand. It's usually unsuccessful, and it does catch them at the end. It was quite a funny sequence, to be fair. Speaking of fish, we also get the gobies climbing up the waterfall to get to their spawning grounds. That was really good. We have seen it before in life, but I think this was the best we've ever seen that. They really highlight just how high they have to climb. Like, for us, it would be a skyscraper like a mile high, which is just insane. He did a pretty good job of showing like how hardy these fish are, and how fish that migrate upstream have to be anyway. Like, you can say that about any species, salmon as well. But this was a really good sequence. I think definitely a surprising highlight for me. The last major bit we get is talking about this area in Pakistan where there's loads of fresh water, and it's interesting seeing the kids playing like happily in the water, and then David Attenborough obviously says this comes at a cost for the natural world, which, you know, it always does when it comes to our activities. Whenever we do something, it always has a negative effect. But we see river dolphins that get trapped in these channels, and it's really interesting because it's nowhere near the main river. So people have actually got to go catch them and then transport them all the way to the river. And they definitely don't have the best technology. Like they're not like using speedboats or anything. These guys are just hauling the dolphins into the boat by hand, paddling back to shore and then driving them. A lot of them are getting punctures and everything, and obviously the dolphins could die if they're out of the water too long, and they can be out for like hours or something at a time. Yeah, I think Attenborough said. But that was really good. It was really interesting. We saw it in the trailer and it looked like it was going to be one of the more emotional bits. I don't think it was, but it was still a really good sequence. I was very impressed with it. The end of the episode is all about the people that study these dolphins and that save them, which I think is probably fair. I think if we're not really focusing on how it was filmed, that was probably the sequence we needed to see more of, I think. But it was interesting. It just kind of highlighted more of what we saw in the actual episodes. I don't think it added a huge amount new to it, but it was still really good. I was impressed with it. And yeah, I thought it was a pretty good way to end the episode. Yeah, this was a really good episode. I think this might be my favourite so far. For me, the mugger crocodile was the highlight, but I also liked the wild dogs. I liked the gobies. I liked the river dolphins. Yeah, there was definitely a lot to like in this episode, and I think it might be hard to top this one next week. And as ever, if you like this, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Did you like it? Did you like the same stuff I liked? Did you think it was the best episode as well? What has been the best episode for you? You know, let me know. I'll be doing it again next week, so yeah, see you then.